Number one, I can see this is going to be a punctuation question because I see the punctuation changing, but not the words changing. I'm going to check out the semicolon in choice H first. Contrary to advertisements seen on television. That is an incomplete idea, so I know that the semicolon cannot be correct. Read in magazines or heard on radio. So this is items in a series. So there's things you see on television, read in magazines, heard on the radio. So it's just items in a series. So this extra random comma, that random comma right there, should not be there. So it should just be choice J because you have just items in a series. Pretty easy one. Okay, 47, it looks like we're changing the verb. So spending versus to have to spend, having to spend. So contrary to advertisements seen on television, read in magazines, or heard on the radio, having to spend a lot of money on a gift for a friend or loved one is totally unnecessary. So that one sounds okay, but let's look and see if there's a better choice. I'm going to go with the shortest answer first. Spending a lot of money. So spending a lot of money on a gift for a friend. So spending a lot of money on a gift for a friend or loved one is totally unnecessary. So the shortest answer, plus that makes the most sense because it's saying you're going to spend as opposed to having spent. Oh, I didn't even notice the spent, having to spend. I just changed that. So choice D would definitely be the correct answer. Number 48. So number 48, we're testing the commas, the punctuation after many people, but also the verb, collect, collecting, who collect. So many people collect photos or mementos from special events, trips, or celebrations. So we know that these commas, special events, trips, celebrations, or celebrations are items in a series. So we don't have to worry about those commas with the many people. Throughout their lives, throwing them in a drawer or cardboard box somewhere, okay, intending to sort them out later. So it's got a lot of commas here. We got this comma after lives, we got a comma after somewhere. We're just gonna have to work the comma puzzle. So this comma works, this comma after lives works to separate all this information. You could remove it, take it out if you will, right? So let's just mark it out and read it without it. Celebration throughout their lives, intending to sort them out later. That's a complete idea. So now we know these commas are used to remove something. So now we just have to decide, it's not going to be who collect because who collect is going to be many people who collect photos or mementos from special trips. That would make this an incomplete idea. So that means J is out. And we can't move many people because if we did, the sentence would start with collect photos or mementos. So your answer has to be F on this one. That's just a lot of commas to work through, but there's nothing really unusual about the commas. You just got to figure out what's the puzzle and how is each of the commas used. Number 49, looks like we're testing UR, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E is UR, versus your ownership, you and you, so commas. So let's look. So the next time you are ready to plop down a plastic credit card for a silk scarf or pair of leather gloves. So it has to be you are ready. So the answer will definitely be choice A. Number 50 has this underline portion underlined, choosing between whom and who, and just remember whom equals him or them. Just think about the M's, and who equals he or they, no M's. So if you can replace whom with him or them, then it should be whom. And honestly, most of the time, who is the correct answer on the ACT. So if you had to guess, just guess who. So this one we have to go back to the previous sentence. So the next time you are ready to plop down a plastic credit card for a silk scarf or a pair of leather gloves for that special someone whom you care about, consider sorting through the junk drawer filled with trinkets and special photos. So this one actually isn't even testing who or whom, because let's go back to this previous one. That special someone means you care about them. There's no use even saying it, and you get to kind of a hint here at choice J. I need to look for that because I had omit or delete. So choice J is the correct answer because you can read it without it. And ACT, remember, is testing clear, consistent, concise, clarity of the idea, consistent with the tone of the passage and the rules of English language, and concise, the shortest answer. So anytime omit or delete is a choice, it's correct about half the time, right? 50% of the time it's correct because that's the shortest answer. So your answer is J. 51, we're testing phrasal verbs filled with, think of the word turn on. Or actually, let's use look up instead. So if I tell you to look up the tree tells you where to look. This is a prepositional phrase modifying where to look. Look up, the word look up is actually the verb. So you have a verb and a preposition that's called the particle. Doesn't matter. ACT will never ask you what it's called. So look up what? The word. So it's filled with trinkets and special photos. So filled with trinkets and special photos. That's the phrasal verb. This one might be difficult if English is your second language because those are the sort of things that are idiomatic to the English language. They're easier just because you know it's the right answer. It's kind of like vocabulary. 52, I can see use. You can also use. So no, it's just testing the verb here. So for example, you can decorate an inexpensive picture frame for your seamstress, or you can use. So this one you already said you can. So you can decorate or use. So it's just a parallelism item. So your answer has to be H because it's decorate or use. So even if you just went with the shortest answer, choice H would get you there. For 53, let's remember the shortest answer is often the correct answer. So in this one, take the original wedding invitation, a candy favor, and a dried flower, a napkin. So you have items in a series. Original invitation, candy favor, a dried flower from the centerpiece, a napkin. So this interrupts that item in a series. So D is what you want to take out, so omit it because it interrupts it. So D. Number 54, again, they're getting a lot of shortest answers here. Anything you can gather from the wedding. Gather or take from, that's the same thing. Redundant, gather together and take. Redundant, gather up and take with you. Redundant, so F has to be the correct answer. Gather from, again, if you have to guess, you're not 100% sure, always try the shortest answer. Which of the following sequences makes the sentences of this paragraph most logical? I already knew this question was coming because I saw these numbers in boxes as I read. And I could already tell that one of these sentences seemed out of place to me. And it was sentence 3 that seemed out of place because shadow boxes are a wonderful way to display several objects from a single event such as a wedding. So I'm going to say, let's see. For example, you can decorate an inexpensive picture frame with colorful buttons from your seamstress mother. And I think if you just reverse sentence 3 and 4, yeah, reverse sentence 3 and 4. So sentence 4 tells you how to make a shadow box, and sentence 3 says what you should do with it after you make it. So it looks like 1 is an example from the previous paragraph. 2 tells what shadow boxes are. 4 tells how to make a shadow box, and 3 tells what a shadow box is. Those questions are always annoying to me. They're not hard. They're just time consuming, and on a time test, those are tricky. If you're not looking to make a 36 or get most of the questions right, then you need to know how many questions you can possibly skip, and you could skip this one if you think it's going to be too time consuming for you. I can't see all the answers when I load this over in the slides. Looks like some of these bled together. Let's see if I can get it from the 2. When you have many photos and mementos, making a photo album or scrapbook for a friend or family member. That's an incomplete idea. So I know 100% that F can't be right, even if I can't see all the answers. When you have many photos, make. So if you, choice G is going to be correct here. When you have many photos, make a photo album for a family member or friend. You can take this whole part and move it to the end if you change this to make, and it can be the move rule, right? You can move it to the end. So your answer has to be G, and I can say that with confidence without even seeing the rest of the answers. Let's see if I can do the same thing for this 57 where I can't see the answers. Today the options for embellishing your book are near to be endless. That's just wrong. You know it sounds wrong. So are nearly to be endless. No, are nearly endless. Answer has to be D. Today the options for embellishing your book are nearly endless. No commas that are in there that we have to worry about. So choice D has to be right on that one. That's tricky. Can't even see all the words, but that should be the correct answer for those. I'm just going with that. I do go back and double check these, by the way, before I finish the videos, so to make sure I got all the right answers. So on 58, it looks like word choice. If some happens to you on your first scrapbooking venture, that one's wrong, so we know it's not F. If when it happens to you on your first scrapbooking adventure, well, that's vague. If when it happens, so entering a scrapbooking store can make your head spin. If when it happens, I think it's going to be H. If this happens, this being entering a scrapbook store, that correctly defines what's happening here. The pronoun this replaces entering a scrapbooking store, so your answer has to be H. Number 59, given all choices are true, which one would best conclude the paragraph by providing the reader with the most specific and detailed information about why store owners offer introductory classes. Let's make it a little straighter. So we're about introductory classes. So, of course, you will have a much better idea of which scrapbook supplies to buy when the class ends. That might be a good reason because it's which ones to buy. Let's look back at the previous sentence. So here we said if this happens in your scrapbook venture, consider taking an introductory class. So the previous sentence, remember, entering a scrapbook store can make your head spin. Let's look at the other ones. Many craft stores publish detailed class schedules. That's not about why, it tells what they do. If you enroll in an instructional class, you might receive discounts. That's not why they do it. They don't do it to give you discounts. You will learn how to use pinking shears. No, they want you to buy stuff. That's why. The answer has to be A. It looks like when I copied this over to the slides, this somehow changed this to 61. So this should actually be number 60. So is the number in a box. We know it's a rhetorical question. Should the writer add many people enjoy original gifts? Should the writer make this addition? So pictures of books that can be enjoyed over and over again are one of a kind, original gifts. There's nothing like receiving a gift that comes straight from the heart. Such gifts help people recall happy times and solidify the bond between the giver and the receiver. It reiterates the notion that gift giving is a rewarding experience. I don't think that's the notion. It's more about receiving the gift, right? People like receiving the gift, not about giving. So I think that's going to be out. Gift, because no gift is as good as a homemade gift. We can't make that assumption. The writer is giving a personal opinion contrary to the rest of the essay. Now, the whole essay is kind of about a personal opinion. It's redundant. It's redundant because many people enjoy original gifts. Yeah, people recall happy times. They like receiving a gift that comes straight from the heart. So redundant. Remember, ACT is testing clear, consistent, concise. They don't like anything that's redundant. So anytime you see redundant in a question, that's probably the correct answer. Go with it. So, J.